This gentleman has always been coachable and driven by implementing all of the training and advice given to him by some amazing mentors, allowing him to be able to succeed at a high level in a very short period of time. Now, helping others to succeed and provide for their families in a way they may have never thought was possible is what's most rewarding and fulfilling for him, and what drives him not to let off the gas. Please help me welcome Mr. John Wetmore.
Am I supposed to awkwardly sit over here now? Is this what happens?
Mr. Wetmore.
Am I supposed to open this?
Yeah. Yeah, so open it.
Hold on. No, I'm just going to throw it into the crowd. Yeah! This is great.
Mr. Wetmore, as you know, most agents confuse activity versus productivity and convince themselves they are working hard, when in reality, they're hardly working. You have trained thousands of agents in the last decade, and your mantra has always been, first do more before you worry about getting better. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to teach these agents how to effectively manage their time to do the money-making activities that produce results, and not to fool themselves into believing that they're being productive when they're actually just being active. Good luck, Mr. Wetmore, and since we're talking about maximizing your time and efficiency, just a reminder, this message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
Hey, y'all did a good job pretending there was something in there. I was like, holy smokes. It's like weird getting on stage, no big deal. Sitting there in front of an empty case was like kind of uncomfortable. Say again? Yeah, right. Always trying to get better. How you doing? Man, so I'm going to go through, I guess a little bit. There's a lot of new people here, so I guess I'll give a little bit of background. For those that have heard it 800 times, sorry, you can ignore it for a little while. I've been in the business 10 years now. As it said, I was an accountant before. I've worked in warehouses. I've worked in a pizza joint. I've had like 20-something jobs. And I did not start out like, who's the dude that 100 grand and there's 31 days? Was he? I'm not that guy at all. I don't close 30 out of 30. I've never been that guy. I don't get 9 million referrals with no leads. That's not my deal. I had kids real young. I learned how to work hard. I'm from a blue collar, broke, welfare family. I know how to work. And I've done really well in this business when I realized that's all this takes. At the beginning, I was certainly looking for all the skill sets, type stuff initially and over analyzing things. And when I hear stuff like this, I'm like, that's dope, but that's a unicorn. I don't know how to do that. That's not my deal. And I don't know how to teach that, so I don't do that either. Now, if I get one, I ain't mad. Give them a high five every once in a while. You know. But for me, it's again 10 years ago. I got funny enough. I'll tell you how quick I was starting. I actually applied on Craigslist in 2008 to a mortgage protection ad, and it took me 2 years from there to get my license. I just like kept getting the guys' email drips and just kept deleting them. He never called me, never did anything. It took me till 2010 to get my license. I got like 12 leads, picked up the phone, dialed once, quit, and it took me till 2012 to book my first appointment. So, yeah, like true story. And I started part-time. I did it for a year part-time, working a couple nights a week and Saturdays. By this time I had 5 kids. Maddox was my youngest. He was 9 months old at the time. And I was tired. I was 35, 36 years old, broke as can be still. And I realized like I was the common denominator of my life. And if something was going to change, I had to do something about it. And I was tired. And so a buddy reached out and was like, hey, you should look into this thing. I know some people having some success. He hit me up on Facebook. And I'd met him in the mortgage industry years prior. And so cold messages do work if you're trying to recruit. He just hit me up. And I was like, all right, I called him, so I would ask what it was. He was like, insurance. So I'm like, nah, dude, I tried that. I'm good. And I didn't want to hear anything about it. But because I knew him, he's like, I'm telling you, this is your thing. Let's sit down and talk. So I went and met him at a local bar. And after a couple vodkas and some drawing on napkins, he explained the business model. Because prior it was just like sales. And I'm not a salesman. I'm like an accountant sitting in a corner from Boston who doesn't like people. I have no interest in selling anything. So he drew, y'all know they draw the circles and they did all that. But he explained like the business of insurance and what you can do with it. And I've always been a dreamer. I've always believed I can do what someone else can do. I've never struggled there. I just never had the connection. I never had like the mousetrap. I don't come from anything, and this was the first thing I found that made sense. And I've certainly tried other things in the past and did nothing with them. But when he explained this, I was like, all right, I can do that. That to me makes sense. Sell insurance, get out of a situation, sell a bunch of insurance, use that money to build a business, help a bunch of people learn how to make the money you just made by following a system like Nate talked about, and just wash, rinse, repeat. I'm like, that's my world. Duplication, efficiency, that's accounting. Y'all call it insurance. I'm like, that's what we do in business. It's no different. So I just started taking a run with it. I started selling, pretty mediocre, honestly. And I'm gonna go through some of the things. Where's the button if I want to use this? I might want to color with you guys. This red one right here? This one right there? No, snap. I'm in my office. Hi. This is nice. Will it just stay on? I don't have to touch no more buttons? This is cool. So, here's some things I've learned. How many of y'all sell life insurance? Right.
Woo! Yeah.
Sorry, Jim.
All day, every day.
How many of y'all do it full time?
All day, every day.
Cool. What do we consider full time? How many hours?
Minimum 40.
Yeah. The world considers 40. I got it. Some of us are overachievers. I am too. How many of y'all life insurance people run 30 appointments every single week? Y'all just told me you were full time. Does anybody run 20? Besides Pete? You? That's it? Y'all run 10? In the whole week or a day? You said, I said the week. You do 20? You do? Oh, I know you. You got thick skin, we can play. Right? Alright, cool. So, and again, I had to learn this stuff for myself. Like, have any of y'all ever been timed on jobs? I have to, like, literally timed. The last place I did it, no one did. They thought it was weird. I'm like, I've been timed twice. I had to load boxes in a truck, and they timed how many boxes I put in a truck per hour. I had to do so many in 8 hours, or you get written up, you get fired. And I did a call center where they time how long I'm on the phone, like cell phone AT&T call center. I did that. They look at 8 hours, how much I'm speaking to a human. It has to be 90% of the time or whatever, or you get written up, you get fired. So here, when I went full time, when I was part-time, to be clear, I was running 10 or 15 appointments a week. When I had my full-time accounting job, 5 kids, commuting an hour and a half each way to my accounting job. And I'd run 10 or 15 appointments outside of that. 2 or 3, a couple nights a week, and 4 or 5 on a Saturday. It's pretty simple. When I quit and went quote-unquote full-time, I kept running 10 or 15 appointments a week. Like, last week I called it part-time, this week I called it full-time. Right? Because now it was my only job, so that's what I classified as full-time. That sounds like what most of y'all are doing. But 20 appointments, dude, in a week. How many are you gonna sit with if you book 20? You said 50? So you're gonna sit with 10? At least? Give me a number. Okay. Cool. I hear 15 a lot, so we'll work on your phone script, dude. 10 appointments. How long is your average appointment?
Hour.
Okay. So hour? I'll give you an hour and a half because you need it. That's 15 hours, right? How many dials does it take you to make that? Roughly, ballpark, dude, I don't need. Yeah, 600, okay? If you called me right now, most don't pick up, fair? If you called me right now and I don't pick up, how long does that take? Cool, I'm gonna round up to a minute for you, okay? You got 600, how many hours is that? 600 minutes. 10? So like, in my world, where you get timed, you get paid to call people and sit with people. Does that make sense? And you just said you work, and we rounded up a lot. We got you to 25 hours, dude. Does that make sense? And we're talking about wanting to own McLarens and working 80 hours a week, and we're willing to do anything and run through walls and do crazy stuff. But every time I do this, I've never gotten past. I can do it with Pete running 40 appointments. I'll get him to 30 hours because his average appointment is going to be like 42 seconds. Does that make sense? Right? He'll make 5 dials, get 382 referrals. I'm like, dude, what do you do all day, bro? You just pick up checks. I ain't mad though. He's making money. Let him be. You know what I'm saying? But if you're in a situation, I had to look at it and go like, I'm broke. I'm calling myself full time. And I'm like, again, I've worked 40 hours. I know you drive a lot. You might. I mean, people don't now. Y'all, this telesales thing and sitting at home in your pajamas is weird to me. But keep doing it. But like 40 hours, but when I worked 40 hours, I had to commute an hour and a half each way. That drive didn't count. Agents go, I drive a lot. Dude, I drove a lot my whole life. And it didn't count. You want to count it to make yourself feel good? Dope. But what do we, like why? It doesn't count. I called the carriers. Andrew, did they call that much, dude?
Yes.
What's the call about though? You don't see anyone. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're doing those kind of things, for me, again, if you want to count that towards your work hours, count it. I just know that when I was dinking around in the warehouse, they didn't count those hours. Does that make sense? They literally counted me putting boxes in trucks. That was it. And in the call center, they counted me talking to humans. All the other stuff didn't count. You know, so you decide what you want to count. I chose I was going to count a minute per dial and an hour per appointment. That was going to be my threshold. That was it. Yeah, that's a normal, because some are going to pick up. And you're going to spend 6 minutes on the phone with someone who won't stop talking. You know, but that just became my threshold for me. You know, and then as I teach this thing, I'm like, now if you're crazy successful running 10 or 15 a week, or you got something else going on, or you got life, or your spouse is loading, all good. But the majority of agents I speak to are complaining about their financial situation. And like, how many days a week are you in the field? 5? So 3 appointments a day? Dude, what do you do all day out there? I know what I used to do. I used to pull into like Kroger parking lot twice a day and like scroll that seat all the way back and put the alarm on my phone and take a nap. That's what I did. But again, how early do you start? How late do you finish? What time? So 12 hours to put 3 people, and you schedule 3, dude, like you're lucky if you sit 1, right? That's pretty standard. I just like, we have to look at it and go, what are we doing with it? And for me, I ain't mad if we're going to be this guy, but dude, it's going to be crazy inconsistent for the rest of the time. Does that make sense? You're never going to build that momentum. Ever. I mean, unless you're a unicorn. But I don't know how to build an agency with unicorns. And I certainly wasn't talented enough to be one. We talked about you a little while ago. You're the guy, huh? I like hiring a unicorn every now and again. They don't suck. So, for me, I'm going to give you guys some commonalities. I don't know how to spell, and I write messy. Is that how you spell that? Discipline? Like, we have to be insanely disciplined with everything we do in this business. What time you dial, the frequency you dial, how many dials per hour, how many leads you buy, how often you buy leads, or the leads coming in automated, or you messing around for 14 hours trying to buy them. Like, we have to have crazy discipline in this entire deal. If we're trying to build, You know how disciplined you gotta be then? Yeah, it's nuts. You know what I mean? It's talking to a lot of people. And talking to a lot of people who are running 10 appointments a week, call themselves full-time, and mad all the time. Dude, it's a hard business to build in, unless you're really transparent with people. So I'm fine if that's your situation, but I just let people know you gotta have a job if that's, if you don't buy enough leads, or get really good at like referrals, like Pete and Cody's dad, and like a couple of people that know how to do it, you literally can't be full-time if you wanted to be. There's not enough people to call. Does it make sense? So for me, as I'm building, I'm making sure they understand what it takes as a financial investment to get enough leads, to be able to make enough dials, to be able to book enough, to be able to actually work 40 hours. Calling people and sitting with people. You want to recruit? That's more hours. I'm in. All about it. You know, you're talking to a lot of agents. It's time consuming. One of the things that I learned to do on the phone is if you take your phone, this will, like again, it's a minute of dial. Like no one's confused by that. And it's really like 32 seconds, right? If you take your phone and you go down, iPhones, Android, just throw it away. But iPhones, it's 100. If you go to the bottom of your call history, it's 100 calls. Okay? If you look at one, if your 100 is like 7 days ago, you definitely ain't calling enough people. Does it make sense? You can literally look at your phone now and look at your oldest call. Then what you can do is every dial day, you can look at the timing of your call and see what time do you start. I like starting at 7 a.m. I pick up the phone 7 a.m. A lot of people pick up, people go, that's early. No, 2 a.m.'s early. 7 a.m., go outside, the sun's up, there's people all over the place. Does that make sense? It's not that early.
Hey, John, I did this, and not only did I do it, I took screenshots of each of these pages and I sent it to Nate.
Yeah.
And son of a bitch, it made a difference.
Imagine that. You know what I'm saying? I look at things that go an hour extra a day or 2 hours extra a day, 2 dial days a week over the course of a year. I mean, that's hundreds and hundreds of hours of extra time, and if we figure out the income behind it, that's all I ever did. You know? But if you look at your timing of the calls, and you got like a 7 o'clock, I'll go 9:30 is your first one, and then 9:37 is your second one, and then 9:52 is your third one, and then you called mom, and then you 10:17, you didn't really work that many hours. You know what I mean? And I had to look at it and have, for me, it was 60 an hour until I was booked. 15 to 20 every 2 days. That was my deal. And I did that for 3 straight years, made well over $1 million. After the first 2 years in the business, I made no money because I was doing what some of y'all raise your hand are doing. Does that make sense? And when I changed it, my whole world changed. And I became insanely disciplined with this thing. I think here, next, time goes quick. I could talk forever, Nate. I could have 4 hours, dude. Ownership, like you gotta own your stuff. Like stop lying to yourselves. It's not good for you. You know what I mean? Like if you're not working enough, like that's why you're not, like, the reason why most people miss sales is all these objections we give. And it's, like for me, like agents will call and go, what would you have said if they said, I want to think about it? Dude, I'd have left long before they said they want to think about it because I'd have seen it coming and I have 30 appointments, so I'd have left. I wouldn't have said anything. I wouldn't have been there for the think about it. I would have been in Mary's house instead of Joe's house. Does that make sense? I'm not worried about the think about it. And if you set the right expectations and you get people to like and trust you and you ask really good questions and you solve problems and you stop trying to sell all the stuff, that the carriers put on brochures, like you'll solve problems, you'll sell a lot of life insurance. And it just takes that, like owning that you didn't miss the sale because they didn't have the money or because they had to think about it or they got to call you next Tuesday. That's not the reason you're missing sales. Does that make sense? Same as when we have why do agents quit, and y'all said reasons earlier, all these reasons, is it that? Or is it because when you're recruiting and hiring them, are you not setting the right expectations? Are they not liking and trusting you? Are you not giving them clear direction? Are you letting them believe 15 appointments is full time? I don't. Does that make sense? That's why they quit. It's not because they didn't buy enough leads, it's because you didn't explain it properly. It's not because they had a chargeback, it's because you didn't teach them how to manage the chargeback. Right? And when I started looking at my business this way, dude, everything changed because now I was in control of what I delivered. Does that make sense? And then you take it or leave it. Here's how the business works. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to sell You run 3 appointments and get lucky on all 3, you'll make 6 grand a day. I don't deliver it that way. Can it happen? Sure. But I'm not selling it that way. I wasn't that guy. I ran a lot of appointments. It's 30 a week, 120 a month, 1,500 a year. I can trip over making $500,000. It's like a 30% close ratio. It's nothing amazing. But most people aren't willing to run 1,500 appointments a year. I just didn't care what the result was on each individual one, because I looked at it like a bucket, and I was like, if I run this many appointments and I make this much money, I make X amount per appointment. And I figured that out when I was part-time mediocre, and that number wowed me. And I went, if I just scheduled more, if I just dialed more, if I just ran more, imagine what the number could be. And then fell in momentum, and then magically, my skill set got better. And then instead of running twice the appointments and making twice the money, I ran twice the appointments and made 3 or 4 times the money. Does that make sense? And the thing we all want is at the end of the work part. We all want the skill set first and then we'll work more. We want the skill set and we'll buy more leads. And I've never seen anyone build anything massive with this, doing it that way. I'm going to go here. Mistakes. I think understanding the power of them is important. A lot of agents, when they're new, they make mistakes and then they pretend they don't make them. Or they call me and they ask like, hey, what do you say in this situation? And I'd say, I say this, and they go, I said that. I'm like, don't you love that one? I'm like, oh God. Okay, I'm sure you did. You know, it's like, just be transparent, like be vulnerable when you're learning this business. If you're afraid to share your mistakes, how do you get better? You know, mistakes is how we learn. You love those agents that go like, I learned by watching? Like those ones drive me crazy. And I'm like, y'all watch the Olympics? Can you do any of that? Man. You learn by making mistakes and getting correction. That's how we learn. And in the shortest span you do it a bunch, you learn quicker. Like, I'm trying to play golf, because that's what you're supposed to do in insurance. And I'm really bad, like awful. I'm like, it's frustrating often. And like I go out there like once a month, I'm never gonna be good. Right? Like no one's confused by that, including me. If I want to get good, I gotta go golf more often. It's not that complicated. I can't watch a video and see Tiger swing and go, oh, I got it. It don't work that way. Let me get this one. How do you spell obsessive? I might get this right. Is Nate obsessive? Yeah. A lot of us are. I bet most of this front row is like, I don't know, but down there, the ones that I know, like we're wacko. And Nate's trying to tell us to be quiet. I'm like, he doesn't know we all break rules, we don't listen, we have ADD. We're like, he knows that he's one of us. I had to get up and go to the bathroom and I was nervous, and I'm like, I'm doing it. So, I'm going anyway. But you gotta be that way about your business. You know, and at the beginning, although I wasn't really good at the business, I was obsessive about training to learn the business. And there, you do have to train, but if you're not training with a high level of activity, there's no correction happening along the way. Does that make sense? That's what someone said it earlier, those like educated broke people. Like you don't want to be one of those either. You know, but you do. Someone, Mike Kilmet, who's been my mentor for years now in this business, he taught me if you want to get paid like a professional, you better act like a professional. You know, and there's people who want this high level of pay, but they're like, y'all ever go to, I don't know, like you go to Chick-fil-A, you know how they don't like mess up your order, like ever? Like, they're really good. It's rare, every once in a blue moon. But you know you go out to eat and you order like, I don't know, your steak done medium and they do it well done. Or you go to the sweet tea and they bring you the unsweet. You know what I mean? You order chicken and they bring you fish, whatever it is. You know how mad you get at like that waitress, the chef, the person serving you, because they don't have like their A game on at that very moment while you're sitting there in a restaurant? Or some of y'all that watch sports and you yell at the TV when the guy makes the wrong play? Like, you don't even know your own plays, and you know the professional team's plays. And then you call me for underwriting questions. And I'm like, imagine if you had the same level of like expectation of your own career and learning it to the level that you expect people to know theirs when they're servicing you. I wish more people would treat it that way. Our expectations of others is nuts. But of ourselves, we're like, training, schmaining, whatever. He said, I saw that video, like Nate said. Resilient, I probably spelled that one wrong too. And it's getting messier as I go down. But like, you're gonna go through stuff. You know? This business is gonna punch you in the face. I promise you. It's coming. And if you're new and you're running 10 appointments a week and you think that's hard, buckle up. You know when you run 30, you know you get more chargebacks, right?
Yeah.
You know you get more no-shows, right?
Yeah.
You know you get like more reschedules.
Yeah.
You know you get hung up on more.
Yeah.
You know you deal with more stuff. You know you start building and recruiting. You know how much of it you deal with then? You know what I mean? Like if you can't deal with one or two, I'm telling you, but this business will, I promise you, I don't remember who I was talking to. Who was I talking to earlier about like roll-ups? I don't remember who that was. It was someone outside. We were talking about roll-up debt. I know Pete talks about it a lot. He had some. You know, I've had 6-figure roll-up debt. I mean, I go, ooh, but based on, if I look backwards, at the moment, yeah, blue. It wasn't fun. Right? And I learned a lot. It was a mistake. I learned how to fix it and adjust. I've had 3 or 4 over 30 grand in my career. But I go, a couple $100 grand. Dude, if I look now based on what I've made in the business, it's like, it's not a big deal at all. Relative. Does that make sense? And you have to be able to see that when you're going through the stuff. That $800 chargeback is literally no big deal. You can pick up the phone, spend 12 minutes on the phone, book another appointment, and fix it in 2 seconds. I have agents that will sometimes spend 4.5 hours complaining over a lead that had a disconnected number to get their $8 back. You know, but I've worked with everyone's agents. I'm like, you realize how much you could have made if you put that much energy into calling the clients who filled out forms that said they want life insurance and not worrying about the one that's disconnected? Who cares? It doesn't matter. You're going to deal with stuff. And if you own any other business, you're going to deal with stuff. Does that make sense? There's stuff in every business. And as you get better, be clear, the stuff doesn't go away. Pete makes it sound dope. I promise he gets chargebacks. I promise he gets stuff.
Not anymore.
Bull crap. They're somewhere. I'll find them. I was an accountant. Bring it to me. Correct. I will find those suckers. Someone's giving them. You know, it happens. But again, it's like this business is this gonna fall on me, Nate? This chair. I'm gonna sit.
Probably not. You work out.
Yeah, I do work out. There was one person in the gym this morning. It was me. And then someone was like, "You just missed me. I was there. I promise." I know he was because he's in good shape. I see him work out a lot. But not only do you got to be resilient, imagine when you're building and you're losing your mind over stuff, and then you're trying to help agents get to this next level. If they see you in these weak spots where they're seeing your emotions, I mean, how are you gonna, no one comes to me about these $15 complaints. I get big stuff that happens in our agency now. And people have learned, like, hey, he's gonna tell me the truth if I go to him, and it really isn't that big a deal. And we're in the insurance business. I can fix it like you can fix almost any, I don't know about PNC, Joe, I apologize. I'm referencing like if you're in my world. You can fix almost any problem in life insurance, like within hours. It's so simple to get out of any financial situation. Now you need leads, I get it. It is what it is, you know? And if you don't have money, you should have a job so you can pay for the leads. It's part of it. You know, and as this thing gets bigger, you've got to be able to minimize the problems. So as agents are watching you ever see like a kid run and fall down? It's the first thing they do. Look at the parent. Yeah, see how you're going to react. Your agents are doing the same thing with you every day. You know? Expectations. I mean, you should understand them. Again, y'all running 15 appointments should expect that it's going to be bumpy. And if there's someone in here that's killing it, because I have agents killing it on 15 a week. We don't say anything to them, or ain't mad at that. But again, for me, I'm trying to teach what's easily duplicatable, and I'm trying to teach someone who isn't having success to have success. And my experience says, unless you're running a bunch of appointments, it's probably not going to happen. Just being real, you know? And you should also expect that if you can't be honest with people, that your agency's probably not going to grow. And if you don't know how to go out there and run at a high level and make a bunch of money, how are you going to teach other people to do it? You know, for me, I didn't need agents. Give me leads and my cell phone, I'll go make $500,000. I don't need no agents. I wanted agents because I wanted to help other people make money. If you're building this thing for the override, you're probably not building. If you're trying to help other people get paid, good things happen. You know, and for me, I try to be really honest with the people I'm recruiting and talking to them about what the expectations are going to be and be real with myself. You know, and not sugarcoat this thing. And that's what's led us to have the level of success we have, is like, keep it simple. This isn't complicated. Everyone wants this magic blue pill, and I'm like, the magic blue pill is a shitload of work. That's what it is. Cody, I stole one from your book of training, dude. Check this out.
Oh!